After years of saving and planning, I finally bought my dream mountain cabin. It offered everything I wanted: privacy, peace, and breathtaking scenery. The property sat on legally recorded private land. I thought my biggest concern would be wildlife, not my neighbors. Before purchasing the property, I carefully reviewed every legal document. My attorney confirmed the boundaries and ownership records. Everything appeared straightforward and properly recorded. The transaction was completed without any issues. Several luxury homes surrounded portions of the mountain valley. They belonged to a neighboring HOA community. I appreciated having respectful neighbors nearby. Unfortunately, not everyone felt the same way. Kara became curious after learning that my property wasn't included in the HOA. She assumed there had been an administrative mistake. Rather than checking county records, she chose to make assumptions. That decision would soon create unnecessary problems. Life at the cabin quickly became everything I hoped for. Quiet mornings and mountain views made every day feel like a vacation. Owning private land comes with both freedoms and responsibilities. I couldn't have been happier. A few weeks later, HOA security began investigating neighboring properties. Questions about my ownership status continued circulating within the HOA. Proper documentation would have answered those questions immediately. Instead, assumptions continued to grow. To avoid future misunderstandings, I hired county surveyors to confirm my property boundaries. Their official measurements matched my deed perfectly. Every legal record supported my ownership. I felt confident moving forward. After finishing several improvement projects, I traveled into town for business. Everything was secure when I left. My property remained clearly marked and legally documented. I expected a peaceful return home. While I was away, HOA representatives began questioning whether I belonged in the community. Their misunderstanding grew into something far more serious. No one contacted the county office for clarification. That mistake would become increasingly obvious. Returning home, I couldn't wait to enjoy another quiet weekend at my cabin. The mountains were beautiful as always. Unfortunately, someone else had very different plans waiting at my front gate. I had no idea what was about to happen. As I approached my driveway, I noticed something unusual. 2 HOA security guards were standing at my private entrance. They were treating my property as if it belonged to their community. My peaceful weekend had officially come to an interesting start. The guards informed me that I was trespassing on HOA-controlled property. I politely explained that I owned the land they were standing on. Unfortunately, they seemed very confident in their misunderstanding. Sometimes confidence and correctness are not the same thing. I offered to show them my certified property records immediately. Ownership documents leave very little room for debate. Proper paperwork often solves problems quickly. Unfortunately, they refused to review it. A short time later, the HOA president arrived at my property. She confidently stated that I would need HOA approval before entering my own land. That statement surprised everyone present. County records would have disagreed immediately. Rather than arguing, I requested assistance from the county sheriff. Property disputes are best handled professionally. Documentation and patience usually resolve misunderstandings. There was no reason to escalate the situation. The deputies listened respectfully to both sides of the disagreement. Their only concern was determining the facts. Law enforcement appreciates clear documentation. Accurate records make everyone's job easier. My property deed immediately caught the deputies' attention. Everything appeared properly recorded with the county. The legal boundaries were clearly established. Ownership was becoming increasingly difficult to dispute. Independent surveyors officially verified the property lines once again. Their findings perfectly matched my legal documentation. Accuracy matters in real estate. Facts remain the strongest evidence available. The HOA board finally began reviewing decades-old subdivision documents. Several important records had been misunderstood. Historical property agreements often contain valuable information. This situation proved exactly why documentation matters. My attorney discovered something particularly interesting within the property's history. Historical land agreements connected portions of the neighboring development to my parcel. The situation was far more complex than anyone realized. Legal history has a way of revealing important details. From above, The relationship between the neighboring properties became much clearer. Historical development decisions had shaped the entire valley. Understanding those decisions explained today's confusion. Land always has a story to tell. County officials confirmed that my property had never belonged to the HOA. The public records were absolutely clear. Ownership rights had always remained intact. Transparency benefits everyone involved. Once the official records were presented, several misunderstandings were finally resolved. Accurate information changed the entire conversation. Communication remains one of the most valuable tools in any community. Facts ultimately bring clarity. Peace finally returned to my mountain retreat. Owning private property comes with responsibilities worth protecting. Respect and communication create better neighbors. Sometimes patience is the best response. In the end, proper documentation and professionalism resolved everything. Knowing your property rights remains one of the greatest investments you can make. Peace of mind begins with preparation. Home is always worth protecting.